بتعرف إنه بداية أو أصل الحركة الوطنية الفلسطينية بلشت مع النازية؟
لا صراحة
ما بتعرف هذا الشيء؟ No, he doesn't know that. This.
Okay. Does he know that? No, not.
Something else Husseini.
Hussein. Haj Amin al-Husseini met with the Nazis.
Okay. بتعرف عن لقاء الحاج أمين الحسيني مع النازيين؟
بدك حدا أكبر بالعمر هيك صار.
You want somebody who's older than me to answer this perhaps. هل بتعرف إنه الحركة الوطنية الفلسطينية بلشت مع النازية؟
مع النازية؟ لا.
نفس الوقت؟ No, he didn't know.
النازية وجدت قبل ما تكون الحركة الفلسطينية موجودة.
I'm not sure if I asked this correctly, but he's saying that the Nazis existed before the Palestinian National Movement.
When did the Palestinian National Movement start?
أنت بلشت الحركة الفلسطينية.
احنا بنعرف احنا وانت بتعرف ان الحركة الفلسطينية او الثورة الفلسطينية بال 65.
Palestinian revolution began in 1965.
Yeah.
65.
بال 65 انوجدت الثورة الفلسطينية.
Since 1965 the Palestinian revolution came.
I think he means that Haj Amin al-Husseini met with Nazi leaders. I think.
هو إذا بده يحكي عن التاريخ الفلسطيني النازية هم البريطان اللي أجوا دخلوا على بلادنا.
The Nazis are the British who came into Palestine.
قولي له الاحتلال هو نازي. احنا تعرضنا للاحتلال. انت موجودة انت فلسطينية؟
طيب. Occupation are the Nazis.
قولي له الاحتلال هو النازي مش الشعب الفلسطيني النازي.
Are the ones who are the Nazis and not the Palestinian people.
Okay. Ask him if he knows about Haj Amin al-Husseini.
بتعرف إنه الحاج أمين الحسيني التقى مع النازيين؟
شوفي أمريكا اللي هي عظمة العالم كلها لما تعرف إن في لها مصلحة مع النازية بدها تقعد معاهم.
Not at the time. This is in the 30s.
بس مش وقتها إحنا بنحكي عن الثلاثينات.
أنا بعرف إنه قعد وعمل وسوى. ليش؟ لأنه كان مصلحته بريطانيا كانت تدعم الحركة الصهيونية، فإحنا بدنا نلتجئ لناس معادين للصهيونية. يعني شوفي كيف إحنا إذا هو بقول إنه أمين الحسيني قاعد مع النازية منيح، طب إحنا بدنا نلاقي بديل إلنا إنه يكون ضد الصهيونية، وكان النازيين اللي حرقوهم وعملوا فيه.
So the reason why Haj Amin Husseini sat with the Nazis, it's because the Nazis were against the Jews, and we needed someone to stand with us against the Jews.
يعني زي ما بالوقت الحاضر بدون ما تترجمي له، احنا بنعرف انها امريكا واقفه مع اسرائيل، وانها روسيا واقفه مع الفلسطينيين، فاحنا من دائما بنلتجئ لمين؟ للناس ضد مصلحتنا بتتطلب هيك. يا شيخ.
So he asked me not to translate this, but what he said is that
يلا
for our own benefit we go who is against our enemy. So that's why Al-Hajj Amin Husseini went with them.
قديش طلعوا؟ 35 تبعونهم وعمل لهم مصادقة. فبديت احنا بدنا نلاقي ناس اللي توقف معانا، اللي هي كانت النازية ضد اليهود، واجوا اليهود احتلوا أراضينا. فيعني مش من الغريب انه نيجي نقعد مع النازية. انا لما لقيت هيئتني مثلا قاعد انه اكثر واحد عدو للشعب الفلسطيني اسرائيل، لكن اذا انا بلاقي ناس اكثر منها عداوة لاسرائيل انا بدي اقعد معها. عرفت؟
So it's known us as Palestinians. We have to look for those who will stand by us and who will support us. So the United States is the biggest ally for Israel. So we have to look for an ally who isn't with Israel. That's why we went to Russia, and the Russians are sort of supporting us and helping us.
Today he means, or?
في الأيام هاي قصدك؟
في الأيام هذه، في الأيام اللي جاي، في الأيام الماضية. أنا مستعد.
But most of the money that comes here is from America.
لو يجي هتلر كمان مرة أنا بدي أقعد معاه ضد إسرائيل.
What?
But most of the money,
Today is from U.S. aid.
no, but he's saying even still, if Hitler would come back
Uh-huh.
today against the Jews,
Uh-huh.
I would sit with him.
Okay.
طب هو لما بدي اقول لك شيء واحد، لما ضربوا غزة اخر مرة كانوا ينزلوا على عمارة يطولوا الاطفال منها. هذه النازية بذاتها.
When they used to bomb Gaza and then the rescue workers would have to go and pull out the dead bodies of children. This is Nazism.
يعني ما بيصدقوا الناس يقول لك نازية او هتلر، يشوفوا شعار النازية اليهود قال بشعر بدنهم منهم.
Okay.
طب هم انت لما بتشوفي انه الاطفال مرميين في غزة وكانوا يقتلوا الناس.
It's amazing how when the Israelis and the Jews see the Nazi symbol or
The swastika, yeah.
Yeah.
يعني قولي له
Yeah,
انه
they would start crying and shivering, but when they see the bodies of dead children, they don't have the same reaction.
يعني قولي له انه هم اليهود بيطالبوا انه كل العالم يتعاطف معاهم لانه هتلر عجب فيهم. طب ما هو اللي عملوا اليهود اكثر من اللي عملته
The Jews
هتلر.
demand the affection of the entire world because of what Hitler did to them, while what they're doing to us is much more than what Hitler did to them.
Do I say something about that? Okay.
قولي له هذا شيء طبيعي، يعني انك انت تيجي تقعد مع نازي، يعني مش انه يمسكوها انه قاعد مع نازية يعني انه هو نازي. لا، اليهود والاحتلال هم النازية، هم بيعانوا من النازية وهم قاعدين بيعملوا اكثر من النازية.
Did you know that this isn't my question, by the way, so don't get mad at me. Did you know that the origin of the Palestinian National Movement is with Nazi Germany?
Nazi Germany started the Palestinian National Movement.
Not exactly. Haj Amin al-Husseini met with representatives of Hitler in the 40s.
With Hitler, yes.
Okay, so and that's what the claim is from the question, I'm guessing, is that that's where Palestinianhood started.
No, it's completely not true.
Okay, so what do you think happened?
What happened? Palestinians were trying to find an alternative to stop the Jews from coming to Palestine, and he thought maybe Hitler will stop them from coming over and stealing Palestine. But he was not a very smart political leader at the time.
Okay. Do you know the origins of the Palestinian National Movement are with the Nazi Germany? You want to
Are with the Nazi Germany?
Yeah.
If like with, you mean like in the same time it was?
Yeah, it started at that time. Or from them, I understood.
I know there was some connection between the leaders of the Palestinian National Movement and Nazi Germany at that time, but they had also connection with all the other countries in Europe. So I won't tie it with Nazi Germany.
Okay. Do you think there's any connection today?
No.
There's no Nazi Germany, obviously, but
To the Nazis, no.
okay.
بتعرف إشي عن بداية السلطة الفلسطينية أو الحركة الوطنية الفلسطينية قبل 48؟ بتعرف إشي عن تاريخهم مع النازيين؟ يعني بتعرف إشي عن عمره كان في لقاءات أو اجتماعات بين الأحزاب النازية والحركة الوطنية الفلسطينية؟ بتعرف عندك معلومات عن الموضوع؟ بتعرف عنه؟ No, he never read about it. He don't know about it.
Okay. Does he know that Haj Amin al-Husseini met with the Nazis?
Who's Nazis? I mean,
German Nazis.
I mean, someone who's like related directly to Hitler, for example.
Yes.
Or
Yes. Yeah.
representative of Hitler.
A representative of Hitler met with Haj Amin al-Husseini in 1942.
1942.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just ask if he knows. That's all.
اوكي، يعني على موضوع الحركة الوطنية الفلسطينية والنازيين، انه مثلا في 42 الحاج امين الحسيني التقى بمجموعة ناس بيمثلوا المانيا النازية اللي هو جماعة هتلر. هل تعرف ايش عن هالموضوع او لا؟ No, never.
No? Okay. So you are Professor Amal Jamal.
Yes.
Professor of what?
Political Science, Tel Aviv University.
Perfect. What is your specialty in? Just, I don't know.
Nationalism, civic studies, political theory, political communication.
Okay, so perfect. This is a good.
Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Okay, so this is a good question for you. Did you know that the Palestinian National Movement started with the Nazis?
This is wrong. This is completely wrong. Palestinian National Movement actually started as Kimmling and Migdal say, with in the seventh decade of the 19th century, when Palestinian people revolted the taxes that were imposed on them by the Egyptians. Who
Second day of the 19th century. Okay.
yeah, in the 19th century. Then we can see evidence for national sentiments among Palestinians who lived in Palestine at that time. We can speak still about the national movement. A national movement actually started to organize with rising of the immigration of Jews to Palestine at the beginning of the 20th century. In the the first decade of the 20th century, we start seeing people writing about it. In the second decade, we can definitely say that Palestinians became aware of the need for a national movement in order to go for independence. So it started far before actually the changes in Europe, and the rise of the Nazis to power in Germany. It has nothing to do with that.
Okay. I'll ask in a second about that, but just for my own knowledge, is it true that my understanding was that in the 20s, it started as an intellectual movement, a Palestinian national movement started as an intellectual movement, and it didn't really spread to the average person, like the Fellahin and the average people, until more of like after the creation of Israel in 50s, 60s?
Well, it started like any nationalism, any national movement starts with the intellectuals. It's an intellectual movement in the sense that intellectuals who are the people who actually imagine the nation and define the nation and define actually the aspiration of the people. Then it moved to the political elite. The political elite came afterwards. In the late, actually with the Balfour Declaration, we start seeing people reacting to Zionism and speaking about Palestinian nationalism. And then you have to understand that Palestinians did not speak about local nationalism because they viewed themselves as part of the larger Arab nation and spoke about a larger Arab state in the region. So they were fighting against the Turks and actually cooperating with the British in order to go for a united Arab state in the Arab region. Only when they became aware that Arab elites in different Arab centers like Baghdad, like Damascus, like Cairo, only when these elites started speaking about local nationalism and showed that there is no way that the British and French will enable a united Arab state in the entire Arab region, also the Palestinian elite started speaking about local nationalism, and we see manifestation in documents, official documents, as well as in local newspapers speaking about the demand for a Palestinian state in Palestine as an independent state.
And when's that around?
Early 1920s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now getting back to the person who's asking this question, I'm assuming, because I don't know the person, I'm assuming he's asking this because of the connection between Haj Amin al-Husseini and meeting with Nazi representatives in the 40s, 41.
Yeah.
So can you speak to that?
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, this is a much later period than the start of Palestinian nationalism. We have to take into consideration that mistakes were done by the Palestinian leadership at the time, but the Palestinians were not given a chance. I mean, they were pushed into this position because the British were very pro the Zionist movement, at least in the early 1920s, with the beginning of the mandate, and until the 1930s. In the 1930s, we have to understand that the Palestinians went into a long strike and the Arab revolt because they did not see any chance that the British will change their policies when it came to the establishing of a national home for the Jews in Palestine, and that will infringe on their own rights in the place. So they refused to cooperate. And of course, when the winds of war started to blow, they viewed the British as enemies, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend. This was the decision. It has nothing to do, by the way, with what happened to the Jews later on, because nobody knew about what's happening to them. Even the Jewish leadership did not know what's happening to the Jews at that period of time.